Good people. Hello, it is good to see you. My name is David Grunfeld, here for the song of the week with one of my favorite human beings in the entire world, the founder, the brainchild, the absolute maestro of good people content, Cleveland's own Jordan Bell. Jody Breeze, how are we doing today?
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm ready to bless everyone's presence with some good music.
Oof.
I'm feeling good.
Ooh.
Today's a good day. How are you, my guy?
I'm fantastic. Bless it up, my friend. We're just here, ready to receive the good word.
Ready to receive the good word.
Yes. No.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. No blasphemy intended for any religious followers or viewers. Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm excited to talk about some music today. I think we both have some older picks. I think yours is, I don't know exactly what you're coming with, but I think based on just our quick chat, might be a little bit older than mine, but mine is also kind of for me anyway, like a little nostalgic throwback jam that I've been had in rotation this week. So,
okay.
Anything you wanna talk about before we get into our picks?
I actually do.
Yeah, hit me.
I wish Bill was on today, but that's okay. I'm curious. Have you listened to the Clipse album?
I have. So I've been, as you know, traveling and busy with work. So I've only really listened to it like once, I would say, like in earnest. Yeah. But how about you?
I've probably run through it twice now.
Okay.
I probably start to finish twice.
Yeah.
And it's good.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. When that dropped, the funny thing is I got as many, have you seen the Bieber, or not seen, but listened to the Bieber album text as I did the Clipse album. I have not listened to the Bieber album yet. I'm sure at some point I'll spin it. I'm not hating on Bieber. I don't mind his music by any means, but the Clipse album is really good. Bill and I were talking about it and talking about some of the early buzz of that might be album of the year and all that stuff. Like my thing with the Clipse and Pusha kind of in particular, they don't always connect the dots on every single song of an album with the hooks, the metaphors, the double and triple entendres, and the production all at the same time. Sometimes you get two out of the three or one out of the three, whatever it may be. They connect almost every dot on almost every single song on that album. Like they crushed it. It was great. It's a great album.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. Again, limited listen through for me, so I can't speak on it with full confidence yet, just because I need to listen to it more. But I love Clipse, the Clipse, excuse me. From like Till the Casket Drop, all the way on through, and so like this has there's like a nostalgic element to it with like Clipse and Pharrell, like doing things and making sounds, and music together again, which is like, just, I don't know, like scratches an itch from my musical upbringing.
Of course.
And I think, this has been covered, I think, in other outlets, but such like an impressive album rollout, and kind of like a throwback almost, in this era of like traditional media doing in-person interviews, like relying on like they just performed, on the streets of New York a couple days ago as we're recording this, like stuff that I think doesn't happen as much in a hip hop album rollout, which then leads to like what you just said. It feels like a part of that cohesion, I think, that you're talking about, where it's like feels like a really complete album, like whereas like Till the Casket Drops, as an example, and even maybe like Hell Hath No Fury, like some of the best 4 or 5 song runs, arguably in hip hop history, I would say, like truly elite stuff. But then maybe like to your point, all bangers, all very listenable, all great albums, but maybe not like connecting the dots and like that cohesive, like quote classic album structure. This feels like there was the correct and adequate amount of time put into everything about this album so that not only can, Pusha be Pusha, which he's been doing as a solo artist for the last decade or whatever, it's staying relevant and just nasty with it, for lack of a better term, just always bringing heat, and then allowing the space for Malice to kind of re-enter the picture, I guess. It was all on his terms, but deciding to come back into this light and seeing them on stage together performing and like all the stuff they're doing together, it's just great. It like brings a smile to my face. It's like, it's awesome. So I'm excited to like dig in a little bit more and listen through a few more times.
And the thing that's always consistent with them, the bars are always there. Like
Sure.
Pusha is always an incredible rapper on every project, every song, every feature. Like Pusha's always, he's always coming with the heat when it comes to the bars. Like I said, sometimes he just doesn't always connect all of the dots, at least for an entirety of an album. Where, I mean, this album's no skips for me. Like it's just an incredible album. The Kendrick verse that they get, I mean, and that goes without saying. Kendrick never misses, but they get a great Kendrick verse. The first song about their parents, like it's dope, man. That's a great project.
And yes, I agree so far in my listens with everything you just said. And that Kendrick verse, you know, and everything that went into that, meaning they paid a lot of money, many millions of dollars to end their record deal because the label didn't want to clear that Kendrick verse. And they said, that's going to make our project worse. We're done. Like we're doing it our way. We don't want to work with you anymore, which is like,
it takes balls.
Yeah. Balls or integrity or whatever, you know, there's lots of ways to describe it, but I think it's them being like uniquely them, you know, in like the perfect context with the perfect plan. And then, they get to go do their thing. And I completely agree with, you know, your assessment of Push. Like, I mean, he's in that echelon now, just because he's been in the game for such a long time. He's proven it time and again, but he's in that echelon of like, I would almost put him in like 2 Chainz, you know, that kind of category of like, anytime he's on Wax, Kendrick, you know, Andre, like this level of like, you have to listen closely because whatever he's going to be rapping, whether it's a feature or his project, there's going to be those double, triple, quadruple entendres with, you know, all this funky, amazing wordplay, rooted in Virginia, of course, always.
Virginia.
Yeah. You know, it's super cool. And, you know, if Bill were on, I know he'd probably bring up, you know, the idea of like the regionalism of hip hop, you know, and how that's evolved over time. And maybe we've kind of retained some parts of that, but lost some of those like core elements, you know, maybe with like the Bay Area being an exception, but generally it's like music is available everywhere to everyone immediately. Building a presence in your local area and then growing from there is like less of a, like, you don't have to do it that way necessarily nowadays. But like to see the Clipse and see these guys who are so rooted in where they're from continue to kind of just expand and flourish as artists it's awesome. Super cool. So yeah, I'm glad you brought it up because I think that's it's fun to see that in today's like musical and, you know, media landscape, and they're just doing it their way, which is super cool.
Doing it their way. They did Fat Joe and Jadakiss' podcast, and my favorite quote or clip from that podcast is when Push is talking and he's like, "Look, this album isn't for everybody. Like, there's a new wave of hip hop fans that don't fuck with our music, and we didn't make it for you."
Right.
This is for the people that like the Clipse. This is for the people that like that kind of gritty hip hop that they were doing in the late 90s, early 2000s. Like, you know, we don't want you to listen to this. You know, if that's not what you want to listen to, go buy the Bieber album. Nothing against Bieber, but
the Barbie Oppenheimer, you know, like when those movies came out, it's like, you don't have to like both. You can fall
pick
into one of those camps and have a great time with that movie, you know?
Exactly.
And like, I think that's, I think that's fun. And there is also just something fun. I think, you know, like touching back to like one of our first videos on the channel, you know, talking about Kendrick at the Super Bowl halftime show.
Yeah.
And part of what was so captivating about it was like this grown man just like really talking shit, you know, like talking deep levels of shit to another artist on the biggest stage possible. And Pusha's like done that consistently from when he was starting to when he's now a super established person. He's like, if I don't like you, I don't like the way that you carry yourself, I don't think you're doing it the right way, I'm going to fucking let you know. And you can either respond or try to come back at me and lose, or you can just take it and let me, you know, take my lap, you know, which is like, you know, that's something also that I think there's obviously, you know, beefs and battles, you know, the Joey Badass versus the West Coast, etc. You know, there's things that happen with a more contemporary generation of hip hop, but Push does it in like an old school way, you know, and he's been able to like evolve his sound and the music around the times to stay relevant and current and make interesting stuff. But that core, like what you said, that grittiness remains, you know, whether it's calling somebody out or just making music for his fan base. That's super cool. And it's, you know, I'm glad you mentioned it was like Jada's podcast, because I think that's also super true of the Locks, right? And Jada as an extension.
Exactly.
Like he's like, this is who I am. You know, this is the music that I make. I'm whatever, 30 years in the game at this point. If you're fucking with me, you're fucking with me for life. And you will discover me if you like it. And if you don't, cool. I'm not going to chase you, you know?
Well, and the thing that's different about those dudes of that generation, you know, like you said, Push, Jada, whoever, you know, Styles P, whoever else you want to kind of pull from that generation of hip hop, is they're very much like, look, if you want to try and pull my card, check my resume before you do it, right? Like I rap about shit that really happened in my life, right? Like Push is like, look, I was really pushing, you know what I mean? Like I really came from this. I'm really repping this region of the country. My rap is really authentic. And you know, if you want to try me, but understand that you're probably going to lose that battle, and understand that I come, you know, there's not a lot of blemishes on my resume. Like there's only so much you can come at me for. I don't know why I couldn't get that out. But so it's just fun to watch those guys go back and forth.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now that we've covered our topic, which again, thank you. Great thing to bring up. Let's get into our songs of the week. Let's get into what else we've been listening to other than the Clipse album. You want me to start, or you want to kick it off?
No, I can get into it. So last week you weren't able to hop on, but Bill and I interviewed Jay Davy, which was awesome. Shouts out to Jay Davy. That was a really cool podcast that we got to do with her.
I wish you could have been there for that one.
Yeah,
She's the best.
She was awesome. She was awesome.
Super cool.
Jay Davy, we're coming to kick it in LA. We're coming to a DJ session. We're pulling up for sure.
Absolutely.
But I talked a little bit about, so my mother has become a big fan of Song of the Week. She's a fan of the show. And
this Reigns.
Yeah.
One of my favorite people in the entire world. God bless.
Out. Mama, yes. I love you. But yeah, so she's become a fan of the show, and she sent me this email. My mom is big on if she has thoughts on something that I'm doing in my life, I get a document or an email, like a PDF or something from her, because she knows like our phone conversations are sometimes in the car. Like I don't have time to take notes. So if she's got some deep thoughts that she really wants me to have this, she'll send me an email. And so she sent me an email about music and about the music that she likes and why she likes certain music. And so it was just an interesting document, man. But one of the things that she said, we had then what we'll do is we'll have a conversation about the email next time we talk on the phone.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So
it's a starter. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm on one of my long walks and I'm having a conversation with her, and we're talking about artistry and like the difference in artistry from when she was growing up to our generation. And the biggest thing that she talked about this difference between needing visuals in our generation, whereas with her generation, like the artists that she loved, if they didn't have their album, if their picture wasn't on the album cover, she might not even know what they looked like, let alone had a music video or whatever, right? Like Michael Jackson kind of popped that off for her generation. And so we were talking about like some of the talented artists of her generation and how like, man, you had to be able to play an instrument and you had to be able to sing. And you had to be able to stand out from that record player, from any other record that came into the house. And then she sent me a list of these different songs that she liked, and I picked one. This was actually, I think this was the first song on the list, but it was Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul. Don't Play That Song, off of her album Spirit in the Dark that came out in 1970. I'm going to give a little background on Aretha Franklin for those who may be watching or listening that don't know. Aretha Franklin was that woman.
The GOAT.
She was the GOAT. Again, the Queen of Soul. She was ranked the best singer of all time by Rolling Stone magazine. Like she was it. She was the queen. Aretha.
I mean, sorry to cut
Go
in.
ahead.
I would just say, even if you're a younger listener and you're not into soul music, whatever it may be, you've heard Aretha Franklin. Like she's like Michael Jackson in that level of like, just by living life, watching television, being out in the world, you've heard Respect. You've heard some clip of Aretha at one point.
Absolutely.
One of the true all-timers. Yeah. And I will just add, and I'll throw it back to you for your song.
Go ahead.
Not only arguably the greatest singer of all time, unbelievably talented musician and arranger and composer of music and a band and everything. Just such an unbelievably talented person.
One of one, like truly one of one.
Truly.
And so she's got this song called Don't Play That Song. And me and my mother described this as the best You've Done Me Wrong song ever. Right. So it's this song, and like, I was trying to picture what's the setting, but if you were to put it in modern terms, she's basically telling the DJ, do not play that song because it makes me feel so shitty about my past relationship. Again, I don't know in 1970 what the DJ situation would have been like. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know exactly how that would have played out, but whoever's
playing the music,
playing the music, she's like, look, do not play that song because it brings me back to this emotion of this guy that did me absolutely dirty and he lied to me. And as kids would say, now he gaslit me. Right. So she's been gaslit by this guy. He's left her hanging. And at some point during this relationship, they played this song that reminds her of him. And she tells the DJ, do not play that song. And it just reminds me of some of the conversations that we've had in the past, right? Like, to me, that song, it's a song about music connecting. It's a song about connecting emotion to music, right? Do not play that song because it's going to evoke this emotion out of me. And it's just a beautiful song. Aretha's on the piano also, right? So it's like a piano solo by Aretha. She's singing. It's a badass song, man. You got to check it out. Again, Aretha Franklin, the queen of soul. Don't Play That Song off of her 1970 album, Spirit in the Dark, is going to be my song of the week this week.
I love it, man. I absolutely love it.
Shouts out to my moms.
Shouts out to moms. Truly one of the best people. And yeah, I think that's like one of the most ultimately relatable things ever, right? Like anyone who's ever been in a relationship with anyone has had a song or songs, that you have or share or love together. And if you break up or things happen and you hear that song, even if you're over it or you've moved past it, it gives you pause, it gives you pause and it makes you think about a different time in your life. And it kind of hits that nostalgic bone, which I love that pick. Wonderful pick. And since you mentioned Aretha and your mom, I have an Aretha and my mom story. And fun fact for the listeners and viewers out there, both Jordan's mom and my mom share a birthday, which is pretty great. So we all get to say happy birthday to each other's moms on September 20th. So
this episode will be coming out around their birthdays. It might be a week or two ahead.
Just looking at the date, I was like, yeah, that might actually line up. So happy early birthday, Mom and Valerie, Jordan's mom. Two of the most lovely ladies you'll ever meet. Anyway, my mom and I took a road trip up to Oregon when I was like 12 or 13, and we had several Aretha albums on cassette tape. Throwing that shit way back for you, dating ourselves a bit. Cassette tapes were old even when we were growing up, but we had them. And Say a Little Prayer by Aretha is a song that my mom and I just had like a blast, like singing and laughing.
Say a little prayer for you.
Oh man, so good. So we, Aretha is iconic. Great choice.
The queen of soul,
the absolute queen. I went in a slightly different direction, but also, like I said at the top, a nostalgic, great jam that I just always found myself coming back to this whole album. And the album is Malibu by Anderson Paak, which came out in 2016. And the song that you could pick a lot of songs off that album. It's a really good album, but the song that I always come back to is The Waters, which is I believe it's the third song on the album. And I said at the top also too, talking about these like 3, 4, 5 song stretches like the Clipse has. Man, the first 5 or 6 songs of Malibu are really, really good. This is a great album. I actually got to see Anderson Paak perform this album all the way through live at the Hollywood Bowl last year, which was incredible. I've been an Anderson Paak fan since the first song I listened to of his, way before probably like 2011, 2012, whenever he was really starting to come out. Always impressive bars, like for a musician and a truly like a musical guy, I would say at his core, a drummer. Bars, like really interesting, fun, often upbeat kind of like cadence to his flow. And he raps about love and women in a really unique, interesting way, which is not really derogatory. It's not like maybe some of the traditional hip hop tropes that you might think about, but he does it in a way that's funny and effective and sharp and part of his kind of charisma. And seeing him perform Malibu and seeing him perform The Waters live just solidified for me how talented this dude is. I'm always fascinated by any musician that can drum and sing at the same time, or drum and rap at the same time. It's really, just try it. Anyone who's listening or watching,
right, exactly.
Go try doing that. It's really, really difficult. And Paak does it, effortlessly, to playing to a crowd of 30,000 people or whatever it is. So, such a talented guy. And The Waters to me is like, I know we have a segment on our channel called Fries at the Bottom, but it feels like he's in his bag, to use that term. Like this is Anderson Paak fully doing what he does best. And like the bars are there and they're funky. It's like he has a couple bars that I still just kind of quote to this day. Like, it's the visionary in the vintage Chevy, like I just think whenever I'm driving around LA and I want to feel cool, I say that bar to myself. But then blended with this incredible, hook or chorus from BJ, the Chicago kid, who's also one of my favorites and just always brings such an interesting, soulful element to anything that he's on. And it's just like, to me, like a perfect Anderson Paak song, a perfect song to drive to, a perfect song to just, if you need to cool out and be mellow, but still have the subject matter, the actual rapping and music fulfilling, and really like be well thought through and be clever. It's just fits right into that pocket. And last couple weeks, like I said, I've been traveling a lot. I've been on lots of planes. I've been doing a lot of things, and I've been listening to some newer music, including the Clipse album. But whenever I'm traveling, whenever I'm tired, or I want to just kind of go back to watch a rerun, as it were, in music, and just get back to something that I know I'm going to love, Malibu and especially The Waters always finds its way back into the rotation.
And so, BJ, the Chicago kid's on that one too, right?
Yeah. He sings the hook. Yeah. So he, like I was saying,
that might be the second song that we've had that features BJ. I think you picked another song that features BJ a couple weeks ago. If I remember correctly.
I probably did. I like BJ a lot.
BJ's great.
Yeah, he's awesome. What's the name of the project? Is it something Now and Later's? Pineapple Now and Later's? I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Hold on, I gotta confirm it. Hold on.
Is this a BJ project?
Yeah, Pineapple Now and Later's. There it is. I don't know how I could have forgotten that, but that's a project that's going back to this era that I mentioned when I first started getting into Anderson Paak. That's from 2012, which at this point was a long time ago. But yeah, BJ is a really interesting kind of unique voice, I think, both in like literally, like sonically, he has a very unique sounding voice, and he kind of brings, like I said a moment ago, like he brings this soulful, low key energy, I would say, to like anything that he's on. And I think just grooves perfectly with Anderson Paak and the whole energy of this song. And yeah, I think as it could be many times over the last several years, my song of the week this week is Anderson Paak's The Waters.
I love it. Yeah. Very good pick. That might be the first Anderson Paak. There's a reason Anderson's performed at the Super Bowl twice now, I think. Like he's
Yeah.
crazy talented.
He's like he's right. I'm not running in these circles, but based on who he works with, based on those types of opportunities that you just said, he really strikes me as like a musician's musician, and
Yeah.
somebody that like kind of has a lot of universal respect in the community, not just rappers, but like as someone who's like, come play in my band, come, and by the way, speaking of bands, I'm on his show at the Hollywood Bowl. He has an awesome band. Like the Free Nationals are a really, really talented band in their own right, and in addition to just backing up Anderson Paak, like really, really talented group. They were so fun to see live. I had such a great time at that show. So,
you know what he is, Dave? He's somebody. So when we interviewed Jay Davy last week, so Jay Davy opened for Prince for a while on one of his tours.
Incredible.
And she described kind of what Prince was like and how big of an honor it was to be in his presence. Like Anderson Paak is somebody that Prince would have fucked with.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like his vibe, his musicianship, his just ability to like to arrange, like to do an arrangement. Like he's someone that would have fit into that. Like when you first started describing him, I got ready to say, well, he kind of reminds me of Prince, but that's such a high bar. I didn't want to say that, but there are similarities, right? Like there's the ability, like you said, the ability to be a rapper that talks about women in a way that's not misogynistic and totally flip it into a way that's creative and funny and all of those things. Like it shouldn't be that difficult, but it really is. You know what I mean? Like especially just the way hip hop has gone the last however many years. Like that's just not typically how you rap, and so. And then again, like you said, to be able to rap and play the drums and rock the house, like he's crazy talented. I'm a huge Anderson Paak guy.
And I think I agree with everything you just said. I think there's like a, not to say like he's the next Prince, but like, when Bill and I do Hit Cycle podcasts, we often talk about like the tree branches, you can trace this sound directly back to this movement or this person. There are direct roots, I think, from what Prince was doing, right, to, the skill set and kind of like showmanship is probably the best word for it. Like he's a true showman. He can really like entertain. He's an entertainer, not just the musician, not just the rapper, not just the drummer or whatever. Totally parallels there. And I think that's one of the highest compliments you can give, right? Like Prince would have fucked with your stuff. Like, Jesus, Prince is we were talking about Aretha being an all-timer. Prince is an all-time talent for my money, just as a musical entity and true genius, and kind of almost like a savant of music. Prince is right in that caliber. So, I think another fun thing about Paak, as evidenced by me making this my song of the week almost 10 years after this album came out, he makes music that really is kind of like timeless and like it's relevant and feels current whenever he puts out music, but it feels also like it doesn't date itself. You can go back to it and not feel like, oh, I want to go feel nostalgic about the early 2010s, or like, it's like if I want to go listen to like Nelly, when I pop on Nelly, I'm like, wow, it is 2004, like here we go. Big jerseys, all that shit. Paak is like, it's like a lot of great soul music or even jazz music where it's like, it's informed by the era that it's made in, but it's not beholden to it. It can be fluid.
It's timeless.
Yeah, it's timeless.
It's timeless. So, again, I keep referring to Jay Davy, but another thing she talked about is like making music that's timeless. And it's probably, I don't know if that's the goal, but that's definitely one of the bars that you're trying to reach.
I think it's a goal. I mean, there's another thing that Bill and I talk a lot about on Hit Cycle is like that. To me, that's like a level thing, right? Where it's like you can make something incredible and great that people respond to, that makes people feel stuff, does all the things that art can and should do. But it can fade, or it can have a shelf life, The next level above that of true talent and mastery, which I know Bill one of these days is gonna do a series on, is that quality that we're talking about, which is hard, right? Really, really hard to make timeless music. There's a reason why like people in our era have heard of like Beethoven, right, or Mozart, not classical music lovers, but just regular people, because they made sometimes even just one, maybe a couple things that hundreds of years later, people are like that works. that hits my ears, and I like the way that sounds. I get an emotion out of that. That's not going anywhere. Like that is powerful shit. That's pretty incredible stuff.
I saw a video on LaRussell's The Good Company YouTube page, and it might have been the video where they came to visit us out in Vallejo. I can't remember which one it was, but they're in the car and he's talking to Malachi, and he's talking about his Tiny Desk performance, and he's like, GT Coupe, like I'll be able to perform that for the rest of my life. Like I'll always make money off of GT Coupe. Like I created something that people will always connect to those emotions. For the and I'll have that for the rest of my life. And that's that's there are. I think the art of podcasting is you're trying to find a conversation that people will always connect with. Like I was walking, I think it was just yesterday. I'm a big fan of The Pivot with Ryan Clark and Channing Crowder and Fred Taylor. And they did one of their first ones that they did very, very early in The Pivot. They went to Mike Tomlin's house. And they sat with Mike Tomlin for like an hour and a half. And even Channing in the middle of the podcast says, man, like we usually do 45 minutes, 50 minutes tops, but we're kind of rolling here. I've listened to that interview 5 times. Like there's something I love, because you can tell in the interview how deep the connection is between Ryan Clark and Mike Tomlin, and how like they genuinely like love each other, and how they genuinely like experience something that changed their lives together, winning and losing a Super Bowl. And like you're trying to find like that's, to me, that's their timeless piece of The Pivot, right? They're not singing or dancing or anything, but they've created a conversation that people will always connect with. And it's the same thing with music and just art in general, right? Like you're, even like you said, Beethoven and Mozart, but you're also talking about Da Vinci, or not Da Vinci, but Da Vinci
was ours.
Da Vinci. I'm sorry. I don't know why.
And those Renaissance artists types.
Exactly. Da Vinci, Warhol, like any of those guys. Like you're trying to create timeless things that people will always come back to. So
no, it's I think you said like maybe it's not the point. I think it's part of the point. I don't know. I think it's part of the reason why a lot of people make whatever art they want to make is like, I want something that can outlive me, right? On a very basic level. Like when I'm gone and I'm not going to be putting anything actively out into the world anymore, can I make something that is going to stick with people, and maybe make them think or make them feel something or whatever the goal is. So yeah, man, it's a credit to the Aretha and Anderson Paaks of the world that their art makes us think about stuff like this, right? And kind of like question like, what is timeless? Why do we keep coming back to these things? And I think a big part of it, I didn't really talk about much of the subject matter of The Waters, but it's a little bit more of Anderson kind of talking his shit, but in a super relatable, fun, clever way. And I think it's in a different way than your pick, but both songs get at these like core human nature things, and like when you're tapping into that, I think that's part of making something timeless, which is times change, but people at our core don't really, and we're motivated by a lot of the same things. We have a lot of the same emotions that people did hundreds of years ago and will have for as long as we're around. It's a credit to both of them that they are able to hit that mark, and still do that years later from when they put their stuff out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's enough for today. What do you think?
Yeah.
We covered a lot.
We got deep. We got real deep on it. And I love it, my guy. It's always a pleasure getting to chop it up with you about this stuff.
Yeah, that's fun. The next time we see you guys, we're going down to New Orleans in a couple days. Bill and I, Dave's not going on that trip, but we've got some pretty cool interviews coming up in New Orleans. I won't spoil who we're going to interview. It may be Lil Wayne. It may not be. We'll see.
With our desperate plea, like Lil Wayne, please hit us up. Yeah, we'd love to see
Master P, holla at us.
Yeah, Currency.
Spitter for real, holla at us. No, man, it's always a pleasure.
You guys are gonna have a good time, man. It's gonna be fun. And for those listening and watching, stay tuned. Some really cool stuff coming your way.
Absolutely. All right. Well, until next time, my name is David. My name is Jordan. I'm all over the place today. It's late. My name is Jordan. This is David. We're out of here. Peace.